Is this John Carpenter's most underrated movie? I vote yes. Welcome to Sick Flicks, where I take a deep dive into the cinematic sewer to help you embrace your inner gore geek. I'm Mike Bracken, aka the Horror Geek, and today we're tackling John Carpenter's underappreciated cult classic, Prince of Darkness. Released in 1987, Prince of Darkness was the second film in what would come to be known as Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy. This was a series of films comprised of The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness. After the disappointing box office results of The Thing and Big Trouble in Little China, Carpenter decided he'd had enough of the studio system. With that in mind, he set out to make this film, which was smaller and more intimate than his previous productions, and where he'd have more control over the actual project. Unfortunately, Prince of Darkness was another Carpenter film ahead of its time. Like The Thing and Big Trouble, it didn't find an audience until it hit cable and home video. It's gained a cult following over the past 3 decades, but it's still arguably the most underrated film in the director's filmography. It's a smart, beautifully shot film filled with faces you'll know from other Carpenter productions. But is Prince of Darkness splattery enough to summon up a coveted 5 barf bag rating? Let's get to the gore and find out. Oh, and before we get started, today's video is sponsored by patrons Boogie Badger, Commander Exorcist, and the Rogue Tomato. Top-notch sponsor names this week, guys. If you'd like to help sponsor some videos and free me from the shackles of YouTube's tyranny, you'll find a link to my Patreon in the pinned comment and description below. And now, let's get bloody. We fade in on some credits. A Larry Franco production. That sounds suspiciously like a D'Amato pseudonym.
Vaffanculo.
Moon establishing shot. On his deathbed, Father Marin reflects on the Reagan McNeil exorcism. I've heard of a dick in a box, but never a dick in a treasure chest. Which gives way to a very utilitarian title card. Not gonna lie, I expected more from Carpenter. From there, we jump into the film proper. Haddonfield, Illinois, Halloween. Wait, wrong movie. Hey, it's AJ Simon. Rick must be off working a case. Check out that stash. He could be pitching for the 1984 Milwaukee Brewers with that lip rug. Nothing to see here, just a couple of 35-year-old college students. Oh no, one side of his bro meringue is longer than the other. Come on, man, trim that thing right. Wicked stash and giant man purse. I am very confused right now. Hey, Sick Flicks veteran Donald Pleasance is in this. And Lisa Blunt. We last saw her in Cut and Run. Victor Wong, too? Egg Shen. Wow, and Dennis Dunn. It's like a Big Trouble in Little China reunion right now. Anyway, this nun walks in without knocking. That's a bad habit. And from the look on her face, you'd think she caught the priest pounding the pontiff, but it just turns out that he's dead. And look who's here to perform the last rites. It's Father Loomis. Yes, it says here that Michael is part of some druid cult. Sounds like BS to me. Over in another movie, here's Egg Shen. Does every dude in this movie carry a giant man purse or what? Probably just his case of tools for fighting Lo Pan. Oh boy, these ants are not in their class. I guess that makes them true ants. Ah, shit, forgot we didn't finish the credits. Dark Blocker, that's my new adult film/action hero name. Outside, Pleasance is hanging out with some bishops. This feels like the start of a joke. And I guess we're not going to draw out the whole what's in the treasure chest thing. Turns out it's the key to Donald Pleasance's heart. Aww. Back to the credits. Tom Bray and Alice Cooper? Fantastic. I wonder if Joanna Merlin is a wizard. Oh, hey, there's Jameson Parker, from one of the Simon brothers to Brian. Fun fact, in 1992, Parker was shot in the armpit by his neighbor during a verbal altercation over dog crap. He recovered. Anyway, back to the movie.
We believe nature is solid and time a constant.
Can we get Egg a mic? Or just get the boom closer to him, maybe? So, another Easter egg hidden in this movie most people miss is that Egg here is actually a professor named Birack. This is presumed to be an homage to mathematician and physicist Paul Dirac, who wrote about quantum mechanics and actually predicted the existence of antimatter, apparently. These things were clearly inspirations for Carpenter's script. Look at Wang. He's all like, man, I should have just gone out on the road with Jack Burton instead of taking these boring classes for my AA. Turns out this must be the adult learning annex, because there's not one person here who's actually college-aged in this class. Take, for example, this guy. He's in his 5th year of undergrad, for like the 5th time. Kigger at the dorm tonight, fellas. But hey, at least downtown Detroit is looking great. Oh, wait, that key has just opened the communion wine cellar. Wow, that's one hell of a long lecture. It's night out. Clearly, Jameson Parker is just here working on his MBA and trying to pick up single moms/strippers working their way through college. Moon establishing shot. But wait, she's not a single mom. Damn it. Over at the rectory, Pleasance is working on new pages to get this movie rolling. Wait a minute, Larry Franco was a producer and first assistant director? How does that even happen? Jesus, Egg's still blabbing. He's that professor who just starts lecturing and never lets you leave on time and makes you late for your next class. Oh wait, it's a new day, and Parker's looking out the window. I bet Michael Myers is going to pull up in a Smith's Grove Sanitarium station wagon. Look at these nuns, just walking around aimlessly. You could say they're Roman Catholics. Inside, Egg and Pleasance are just hanging out. I brought you my dead Cardinal's diary. He was into some weird shit. Totally cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Written by Martin Quatermass, aka John Carpenter. This was not just another of Carpenter's numerous pseudonyms, though. Astute fans will make the connection between the Quatermass name here and Nigel Kneale's famous character Bernard Quatermass. Carpenter was inspired by Kneale's work, going so far as to name the film's fictional university after him, but Kneale was reportedly less than thrilled with the homage, fearing people would assume he had something to do with Prince of Darkness. Alright, since we're over 10 minutes into this thing, let's wrap up the credits by giving Carpenter his due. God, I adore John Carpenter. Over in the actual movie, Jameson Parker is playing with himself.
Hell yeah.
No, not like that, you pervs. I mean, he's playing solitaire. Great, the TV has ants again. Maybe you can just act like they're not there by feigning ignorance. So, Prince of Darkness was shot by cinematographer Gary Kibbe. This was the first time Kibbe worked with Carpenter, but certainly not the last. He would go on to serve as cinematographer on all of Carpenter's future projects through 2001's Ghost of Mars. You can be forgiven if thinking his work here is reminiscent of Dean Cundy's earlier work with Carpenter, and I mean that as a compliment. Anyway, it's time for an exposition sermon. Pleasance is explaining the dead priest was the guardian priest at this dilapidated church. But what was he guarding?
The Brotherhood of Sleep.
Well, that doesn't sound ominous at all. And what was the Brotherhood of Sleep responsible for keeping at bay? This weird green reanimator fluid, basically. Don't worry, it's all gonna make sense. Ah, this is a book of prophecy. It speaks of a man who flies like a dork, someone called the Pumayman. With that settled, let's check in on Wang, who's shooting his shot. Did I ever tell you about that time me and my pal Jack squared off against the Lords of Death? Yes, Wang, like 100 times. Same with your green-eyed model girlfriend.
Okay, only when we open the box and observe the cat does he materialize into reality.
Wow, this movie is actually gonna explain Schrodinger's cat.
Why do I want a PhD in this?
I have no idea. I mean, it's definitely not helping you pick up chicks. Inside, class meets up. Although this looks less like a class and more like the parents of the kids who should be in this class. I know, they're grad students, but still, would it have killed them to throw one actual college-aged kid in here? But at least this gives Brian a chance to shoot his shot.
I'm Brian Marsh, by the way, since we're spending the weekend together.
Come on, man, you can do better than that. You're studying physics. Try, hey, want to get together later and convert our potential energy to kinetic energy? Also, Jesus, that's like a monster caterpillar on his lip. She's like, I hope this isn't rude of me, but I must ask you some questions. I meant must ask. He's not taking my advice and is still trying to woo her with card tricks in this line.
Confirmed sexist and proud of it.
Jesus, settle down, Brian. You're just begging to get canceled. But he somehow manages to save it and get her to agree to dinner.
Well, I suppose something could be arranged.
The crumb duster gets him every time. From there, it's more exposition. Everyone's going to the abandoned church. Extra credit, guys! Honestly, I think Egg's just moving in. Well, this is nicer than my room at the Y. And since we're almost 20 minutes in, we're way overdue for a Donald Pleasance delivering dialogue melodramatically scene.
It's your disbelief that powers him. Your stubborn faith in common sense.
No one chewed the scenery like Donald Pleasance. I'd watch him do this all day. Donald's all in on the science and religion, but Egg is not sold.
The outside world doesn't want to hear this kind of bullshit.
Back in movie A, Brian is giving off strong creeper vibes.
Did you have a class tonight, or?
No, just hanging out here to stalk you. Hope you don't mind. Huh, guess she was cool with it. Man, lot of smog in SoCal today. Oh yeah, Brian definitely giving off clingy creeper vibes.
Can I tell you something?
You just know whatever comes next is going to be a giant red flag, like, you look great in my room of corpses. Hey, it's Alice Cooper and his army of derelicts. If you're curious how Cooper and Carpenter connected, the story goes they met at WrestleMania. I'm presuming it was WrestleMania 3, and Cooper told the filmmaker he wanted to be in a horror movie. The rest is history. Alright, everyone's here. Who's ready for the church lock-in? Great, this place is clearly in the bad part of town. They're gonna get panhandled all weekend. Sweet, looks like Stryper's roadies are set up for the big show. Hey, it's Carpenter regular Peter Jason. We last saw him in body bags. But Dr. Leahy finds Egg and asks the million-dollar question we've all been wondering.
Well, what are we actually doing here?
And here's Tom Bray. It's like his third Sick Flicks appearance, I think. I kind of lost count because it's been over 4 years. Anyway, he's the Prince of Dorkness.
Science marches on.
Man, this is gonna be one sweet-ass LAN party. That thing runs Doom like a champ. Man, I wish Jack Burton was here. Oh, hey, these guys are hanging out waiting for Tyler Durden to invite them into Fight Club.
His name is Robert Paulson.
And work's already underway. They're translating that book from earlier, and I'm sure this is nothing to be concerned about at all. Getting very strong evil speak vibes right now. As you can see in this scene, the church is named St. Goddard's. The force of evil in this film is referred to as the anti-god, a name you can form using some of the church name's letters. Coincidence? I think not. And while we're here, I guess we should also talk about the sun and crescent moon imagery. This is very similar to an image from Kubrick's 2001, which was an inspiration for Carpenter using it here. Then this happens.
It's so wonderful what you're doing, Father.
Yeah, that's not freaky at all. Man, I need a set like this for my videos. But things are going from bad to worse down here.
He's gaining strength. I can feel it.
Man, Pleasance was just a master at delivering ominous lines with gravitas. Look out, I think someone trained this version of ChatGPT on the Old Testament. Back upstairs, it looks like it's pretty warm outside. Downstairs, translations continue. Look at Egg, he's like, we're just translating old issues of Watchtower. Church establishing shot. Everyone finish their communion wine. Back inside, Peter Jason is showing us why he's the worst human beatbox ever. Definitely not Dougie Fresh or Biz Marquee. Anyway, Tom Bray heads out for the night and runs into Alice Cooper, who impales him with a bike. You could say this is a pretty bespoke kill. Fun fact, this was part of the deal for Carpenter giving Cooper the part. He wanted this gag from Cooper's stage show. Cooper even brought his own prop. Oh yeah, this is looking wheel bad. Inside, Brian is airing some concerns.
A life form is growing out of prebiotic fluid. It's not winding down into disorder. It's self-organizing.
This is probably a good time for some exposition. The gist of this is that the container with goo was buried somewhere in the Middle East by...
the father of Satan.
So, the goo is not the anti-god, but the son of the anti-god. Sort of like the son of the blob, I guess. But wait, it's gonna get crazier.
Now later on here, Christ comes to warn us. He was of extraterrestrial ancestry, but a human-like race.
Wait a minute, Jesus was an alien? I knew it! Lance Henriksen, can I get a ruling on this?
That's the stupidest fucking thing I ever heard.
Downstairs, things are even worse. Great, we've got a green slime leak. And our scientist lady takes a blast of slime to the face.
Hell yeah.
No, I meant this green slime. Back upstairs, we get this line.
Faith is a hard thing to come by these days.
That's a paraphrasing of a line McReady says to Blair in The Thing, the first film in Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy. In that movie, it's trust that's hard to come by, but clearly Carpenter knew what he was doing by tweaking it here. With that all settled, Wang wanders off and runs into the girl who got slimed. Notice he's eating an apple. She vanishes back downstairs, but this guy manages to find her. Sort of. Oh, hey, I know what that thing is. It's the ooze that created the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Anyway, our guy finds Susan, who demonstrates why she flunked out of chiropractor college. And while that's going on, Egg and Pleasance are having another theological debate. Egg totally gets it.
Maybe he's anti-God.
And time for the patented Pleasance freak out.
But he was our prisoner, not yours.
Outside, this guy offers his opinion of the film.
This is a joke.
I disagree, sir. I happen to think this movie is fantastic. Susan is not pleased with his take either. You could say she's bugging out over it. And here comes a super cool shot that always makes me think of the similar one that would appear years later in Exorcist 3. Carpenter achieved this cool effect by having the actor stand in place while a truck loaded with bricks moved in the background. Super inventive. See, this is what happens when you offer up bad takes. I think she's made her points. And more text. This sounds like the opening scrawl for an old roguelike. Hey, that's like the Blue Oyster Cult symbol. It was on their first album. Turns out that's actually the symbol of Kronos. Man, I love this shot. Looks like something straight out of Bloodborne. Then things get weird. Wang's having a dream. But before he can learn anything, he remembers he's late for football practice. So these transmissions are actually a warning from the future. And now Egg is getting them, but he's late for football practice too. I feel like I'm going to be explaining the football practice reference a lot this week. Anyway, this weird dream is all tied to the Brotherhood of Sleep, the priests who guarded the anti-god for ages, and anyone near them has the same dream. That's handy. Over in another room, it feels like this is about to turn into one of those Skinamax flicks. Or maybe not. It is interesting that both this film and The Thing have been critically analyzed as parables about the rise and spread of AIDS. It's pretty easy to see the connection in both films. People look normal, but they spread the infection to the unwary. It's a cautionary tale. And look out. This lady must be a huge Blue Oyster Cult fan since she's got the logo branded on her arm. That is dedication. Also, does this mean she's the chosen one? And our newly infected lady is back on the clock. This is like me when I get really focused on a script. I bet she's typing, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Oh, never mind, it's an early draft of They Live. I'm glad they changed the title. And we've got some more bad news, which turns out to be 100% accurate for this guy. It was bugging me who this guy was, and then I got it. He was the cop who threatens Cuba Gooding Jr. in Boys in the Hood.
You think you tough?
He's joining the cult, everyone else is gathered in another room to talk about science stuff.
Almost as if I were watching something pre-recorded.
Tachyons?
Alright, I will try to explain the tachyon idea and what it means in the context of this film. I never took college-level physics, so this will be super simple, and I'll probably fuck it up. Tachyons are hypothetical particles that continually move at a speed faster than the speed of light. Because of this, Einstein apparently posited that if tachyons existed, they'd be sort of the key to time travel. By moving faster than light, tachyons would allow people in the present to send messages to people in the past. That's the idea behind the shared dreams everyone is having here. But here, let's let Catherine explain it.
Anything traveling faster than the speed of light would appear to be going backward in time.
Oh, hey, this is like one of those gag cakes, right? Satan's totally gonna pop out of it. And this guy's back from the dead. He sounds great.
Hello?
I think they just need to recharge his batteries. Oh man, he's looking fantastic.
Ready for death.
Well, I actually prefer Revenge of the Ninja, but Pray for Death is my second favorite Sho Kosugi movie. And this guy's shaving a little too close. Inside, everyone's ready to get out of Dodge, but the homeless people have trapped them in behind a trash barricade. Meanwhile, Wang's headed downstairs. Great, we've got a plumbing leak too? Well, this seems totally normal. And now Peter Jason gets the golden shower.
Hell yeah.
No, I mean this lady spews her toxic goo on him. Wait, that still sounds dirty. And now Susan is after Wang, but he locks himself in the closet. Maybe that's part of the AIDS metaphor. Oh man, and this guy's back too? It's like a zombie holocaust in here. He reminds me of that World of Warcraft guy in that South Park episode. Uh-oh, looks like this chick has a bun in the oven. Sure hope it's not Rosemary's Baby. Church establishing shot. Give me 3 Hail Marys. Inside, they're gonna free Wang. I'm just glad they're not breaking the fourth wall. While they're digging away, this lady is looking very healthy. Someone should probably get her some Skyrizi for that skin condition. And it looks like this place has an ant problem too. But no one seems to mind, because you could say they're pretty tolerant. Oh boy, someone's awake. Come give Nana a kiss. This causes Wang to lose his shit.
Oh, God! Help! Help me!
Save me, Lopan! Wang's not the only one struggling, though. Brian and his peeps have their own issues. Oh yeah, he just got hacksaw Jim Duggan'd. Then he gets stabbed in the eye with a pencil. He's really gonna need to get the lead out. Wang finally escapes through the hole, but he's brought a passenger. Time for her to hit the bricks. While all of that's going on, creepy Karen here just gave herself 7 years bad luck. But it turns out she just needed a bigger mirror. So this is a really cool shot of her reaching through to this other dimension to free the anti-god. They achieved this effect by using mercury from some of the equipment they had on set, but since that would be poisonous to touch, they created a prosthetic arm to dip into the liquid. Jesus, look at Brian. Is this dude supposed to be our hero? This is some weak fighting. Before she can finish touching the darkness, Donald Pleasance is like, I must ask you if you've been to confession today. There can be only one. Oh geez, nothing is gonna stop this lady. But it's about to get worse because something's coming from the other side. It's like a Beatles song with all the hand-holding. But before she can bring the anti-god to our world, Catherine makes her move. By God, she hit her with a cross-body block. God, my JR still sucks. And Pleasance gets himself 7 years of bad luck for good measure. Well, that could have gone better. Now I have to start stalking a totally new girl. And the spell is broken. Even the street people are back to normal.
We stopped it here.
God, don't jinx it, Donald. We haven't even gotten a swerve ending yet. No, hey, remember the dream? Well, we have a date now.
We are transmitting from year 1999.
And football practice, followed by a jump scare. And double football practice. Oh no, he's not gonna try to open a portal in that mirror, is he? Did we learn nothing in the last 97 minutes? And cue credits. So, what have we learned from Prince of Darkness? A whole lot of things, actually. For starters, Carpenter was a filmmaker consistently ahead of his time. This film, like Big Trouble in Little China and The Thing, was not a box office success. Like those films, it has found a cult following thanks to cable TV and home video. We've also learned that while everyone thinks of In the Mouth of Madness as his Lovecraft homage, Prince of Darkness fits right in there too. It's no stretch to think of the anti-god and his son as essentially elder gods locked away in some great beyond waiting for the perfect moment to return and enslave humanity. Honestly, Carpenter's entire Apocalypse trilogy is fantastic, and this is the most underrated film of the three, and maybe his most underrated work in his entire filmography. But enough about that. Can Prince of Darkness pierce the veil and bring back a 5 barf bag rating? Let's go to the gore card! In terms of gross anatomy, Prince of Darkness definitely delivers. We've got a bike impalement, a snapped neck, Kelly's gruesome transformation, limb removals, a decapitation, and more. The gore work is very solid, not that you'd expect anything less from Carpenter. It's not on the level of The Thing, but there's more than enough here to give Prince of Darkness a very respectable 3 barf bag rating. Hell, I wouldn't argue if you wanted to bump it up to 4. This is definitely a sick and very cool little flick. Looking for another movie that feels like it was inspired by this one? Then be sure to check out my review of Michele Soavi's The Church. You'll find a link here on the screen. I'll meet you over there. Until next time, I'm Mike Bracken, aka The Horror Geek, bringing you all the splatter that matters.